I always get caught. Hey Nick, you know I got to think about these things. That's why we're in this, and I'm sharing my thoughts and crazy ideas with everybody because the more of us that are doing it, the better it is. You know what I mean? I may find a better way to do it, and I can get some ideas from him. He can get some ideas from me. So I'm not gonna keep these little ideas to myself because we're all trying to eat our food off of this. Let's hope Al comes back. Can you message him if he doesn't come back and say, oh, 1 hour thing? Welcome back, folks. I'm very bad at paying attention to the timing of this thing. Truly does a better job at it. I get caught into all this talking and then I don't realize that the time's running out. So Al, we have 1 hour each session, and I forget to watch when the thing is counting me down that the hour is up. So when it gets to an hour, we have to restart it, and so that's what happened. So it
I
just caught us
realize.
off blank. Yeah. So we were talking about different business model to sell for farmers to sell their meat or whatever they have. You know, I got excited about it, and I want to big up Dr. Welch, the Assistant Commissioner of Police. He's on here watching us, participating. Big up, sir. We had the pleasure of having him on the farm Thursday, and I can say he gave me a vote of confidence on my liquor security system. So I am happy to see him joining us. So next thing is we're talking about these how people can sell their stuff, right?
Yeah.
Where it should go. So I guess that's a good pivot for your advice to farmers because it's in the same vein. Whether it's their production system, their feeding style or feeding program, breeding program, what advice do you get? Even just getting started, what advice do you have for them?
Yeah. Well, as we touched on earlier, and I mean, you said what you did. Number one, you have to do your research, right? And number two, you have to put the forages in place. You have to know what you're going to feed them. If you're going to raise all purebred animals and sell them for 120,000 a piece, then maybe all you need to know is where you're going to buy hay from and the nearest feed store, right? But if you're going to meat animals, you have you have to know where the forage is coming from, right? Either if you have a 1 acre farm and you have 300 acres of waste of land next door, fine, okay? Otherwise, make sure you have some land where you put in the forage or forage is there already. Make sure you have that in place.
So feed security is paramount, you say?
That's the number one, because that's the thing that's going to burn your pocket and make the whole thing unprofitable. And I mean, that's number one. Number two, I mean, you have to decide on a management style, intensive or or pasture,
Uh-huh.
and it's simpler for intensive. I mean, like how you doing your pasture management takes a lot
Yeah.
of research, like, as you did, and it takes a lot of discipline. You know, so you have to research it and see if you can manage it. You know, you can't just if you're going to pasture rotation, or you can't just leg of the animals them and gamble your business. You know what I say? You have to, whatever timing you decide on, you have to do that consistently. Whether it's an 8-week rotation, 4-week rotation, whatever, you have to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. For us, because it's a semi-intensive system, so the goats come in every day to get back in their secured environment. So
Yeah,
we decide once since they gotta come in, then they move every day. They go to a different spot every day.
true,
We're
true.
fortunate to have enough space to do a rotation, like a 6 week rotation. So based on our research with the worm load, etc., all that stuff, we figure 6 weeks is a good rotation. And we didn't settle at that. We actually brought in a couple cows to follow the goats to even break up the worm situation even more, and add more to add to the pasture when it comes to eating it down and dropping manure, all that stuff. So we actually thought about a proper pasture management and grazing system. You know what I mean? And I can tell you that it's in the beginning it's a lot of work. It's a lot of trial and errors and adjustments and stuff, but compare that to how much you would have spent on, cut and carry on equipment and feed, buying all that grain for all these animals, or etc., all that stuff. I think we had the luxury of, elbow grease equity, to instead of have to put money up, we spend the time to learn how to do proper grazing, and we're reaping the benefits of it. You know what I mean? I'm proud to say, based on we just got a pasture assessment results, and we're averaging 16% crude protein on there
Wow,
because of how the
good.
pasture is set up. Yeah, because it has all these wisps and all these wisps and all these little legumes and stuff in it. And if I had listened to some people, they would have had me dig it all up and plant Mombasa grass or whatever. But it is right the way it is, because it's a very diverse pasture. And I've always been wondering, before we got the results, why my maintenance mothers look so good. Because based on what people tell me, they shouldn't. They shouldn't be looking that good on just grass. But now we know why. It's because the pasture is so diverse, and the rotation that we're running, they get to eat the grass at its most nutritious point.
Well, if you can manage that, that is per sec. Do you have the cows? You have the cows on the same pastures as well,
Yeah,
right?
the cows are behind the goats.
You
The
know what,
cows are
Ray?
behind the goats. So the cows will follow the goats maybe a couple of days, but the goats eat off the top, and they will leave a foot, whatever is left, and then the cows come behind and clean that down to, like, 6 inches, whatever, and that's the system.
You know, I tell you what, Ray. I must say, I'm very impressed with the level of research you have done, because that's a lot of research has been done internationally that
Mhm.
tells you that when you run the cows behind the goats, right? They also suck up a lot of the parasites,
Yeah. Hmm.
right?
Yeah, and that's a dead, what they call it, the terminology. Like, it's a dead end for the parasite, because the cows and the goats don't get affected by the same parasites.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the end of the road for the goat parasites
Yeah,
once
that's
they're
the end of the
ingested by the
road for the
cows.
goat parasite once the
Definitely.
cows consume it. Yeah.
Yeah, and the cow is going to eat the grass down to a particular level now,
Yeah.
where maybe you can have some of the sun hitting the remaining worms that
Hmm.
kind of kill them a little bit better than if the
Yeah.
forage was higher, right?
Exactly. Hmm.
So when
So
the
it's been
goats,
working for us, and I mean, it's we haven't been doing this very long, but we actually spend a lot of time on the pastures, adjusting what we do, figuring out the best way to do it. You know, we spend a lot of time. You know, Khalil can attest to that because he's been here. You know what I mean? When it comes to, he's our guy when it comes to nutrition and all that stuff. And he brings the people to do the test, ground, earth testing, forest testing, everything. Because one thing I've said well before we started was I need to know how to feed the animals. Khalid was the very first person I called when we decided to do this because I wanted to know how do I feed them? What is the best approach to feeding them? It doesn't make
Ray,
it. Yeah.
I want anybody listening to underline that. What are you going to feed the animals? What's the best approach? That is the foundation right there.
Yeah.
You know, definitely. You have
That
to
was my
ask
first,
yourself that question.
no joke, that was my first question because I saw him talking about it on a Cardi video. When we're doing our research and we're looking, well, let's see what they do in Jamaica. And we found this series of Cardi video, Dr. Young, Khalil, Maxine Brown, there's a bunch of them that were doing these workshops. And Khalil was the nutritionist I was talking about. So I'm like, I'm going to call him because he's in Jamaica. He knows what's available in Jamaica and he should know the approach to feeding the animals great in Jamaica. And I pick up the phone and call him through Facebook because I never number for him. I found him on Facebook and called him through Facebook. He was in Israel. So yeah, so for, as you said, feed security is important. And that's why we figured out that hey, I want to know the best way to feed these animals. How do I feed them? And with what I feed them, with what I have around me. You know, because I didn't even know. That's how I found out that quick stick called Gliricidia or something like that.
Yeah,
Because
yeah, yeah.
I had Khalil send me a list of legumes and stuff and grass that's in Jamaica that has good quality for goats. Like, yeah, we went deep. We went real deep, and the results now is I have animals on pasture that don't eat grain unless they're gonna have kid in a few weeks, have kids on them, or going to market. That's the only animals that get grain in our system. And trust me, we have our challenges when it comes to making sure our workers understand the objective, you know? Because you know how some Jamaicans say, like, yo, just carry go to sun, whatever. I'm like, no, man, they gotta go a specific spot, and the next day they're going to the spot next to that, and so on and so forth. And we're not taking any corners. We're not compromising on it. Because once you start messing with the system, then everything goes out of whack.
What I would love to see happen, Dory, is Borders or Cardi or any one of these organizations, they should document what you're doing in terms of the pasture management and what you're doing. Document them, test to see what's happening, and make a record. So whenever you have a new goat farmer coming in and they say, okay, I want to do more pasture raising, right? Then they can tell them this is all, if you're going to do that, this is how you do it. This is how it was done. Where's your farm again? St. Mary?
Yeah, we're in St. Mary. How you get St. Mary?
This is how it was done in St. Mary. An area with a particular level of rainfall in a particular type of forage. This is how it's done here. So, you have an option of duplicating that. You don't just run up a fence, plant African style, leg of the goat them in there, and without any kind of system.
Yeah.
They have to document what you're doing, measure the success, measure the challenges, record how you dealt with the challenges, so you can give good advice. A lot of people going into goat farming, they want to know, how do you do this? How do you do that? Right?
Yeah.
And sometimes the information is not there. Everybody have to be doing their own experimenting.
Yeah, I think number one thing for us was, as I said, the approach of how we feed them, what we feed them. Because everywhere in Jamaica is different. So once I got that list from Khalil, I figured, okay, what on this list is in my area. You know what I mean? What is here in my area that I can utilize? When
That
we
grows
discover
in your area naturally.
naturally that I don't have to bring it in, it's here. You know what I mean? Quick stick. Like everybody said, this what they call bread nut. I don't have no bread nut anywhere close to where I live. But then I discovered that bread nut and quick stick are on the same level.
That's right.
And quick stick is everywhere that people use it as fence posts. So it's everywhere in around our property, and we use that and one they call china. Mix that with what we cut and carry. We mix that with the guinea grass, and that's our feed. Every day, that's our feed what we cut and carry to the animals in production. You know, the animals in the field, in the pasture, they get a bigger option, bigger variety of plants. And Khalil can tell you what they are. I don't know them, but there's a lot of little legumes, a lot of little things in between the grass, and that's what makes the pasture special. But managing it is what revived all of that. Because when we came here, it was just 10 feet of guinea grass and nothing there but 10 feet of dried up guinea grass. But what we did was to revive it and rehab the pasture is just animals. We cut it down and say, okay, we're going to let the animals do their work. Animals, the goats and the two cows did all of that in a year, in 1 year.
Boy, the biggest move you made was those 2 cows. Trust me.
Yes, yes, I can see the big difference once the cows start doing their thing. You know what I mean? And not only in the pasture, but I think I have dewormers expiring because we don't have a worm problem. We seldom
I
use
love that.
dewormers. And I think it's part of the pasture grazing system, the fact that we have the cows on there too, and the animals never eat in the same
And the
spot.
quick stick that you feed into.
Yeah.
There have been some research in South America that tell you that the quick stick has what they call tannins
Yeah.
that does some degree
Oh, I
destruction
didn't know
of
that.
worms.
I didn't know
Yeah,
that. I know
yeah, man.
Sericea lespedeza have that tannin that deals with worms. I didn't know Quickstick has it too.
Yeah, man. Quick stick.
That's,
A lot of forages have it. Just you know, a lot of time when if you observe a
mhm.
particular forage in nature that stays green, that the insects cannot touch,
Yeah.
that's generally a good indication. I mean, not a guarantee, but a good indication that's a high tannin tree.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good. So I have to take note of that. Um, yeah. So basically, that's been our system, and it's working for us. And we have the capacity to expand greatly because of how tight our rotation is, or stocking density. You know, it's we're not even close to maximizing our stocking density. You know, so anybody, what we're actually gonna start doing is we're starting a YouTube page and we're gonna start documenting these things and showing people how we do it.
that's
You
true.
know, we're gonna
That's true.
start documenting our approach to kidding, to our kidding periods. We're gonna document the next kidding season period, we call it, is November, and we're gonna document every step of the way and show people our approach to it, why we keep getting higher weaning weights, low mortality, all that stuff. We're gonna show people our approach to it because I think our system is unique, but everybody can do it. It's just that people don't take the time to manage these processes. And we have, you know, our record keeping, our, you know, animal husbandry, how we approach when kids are gonna come, everything. We pay close attention to it. And I think, you know, Trudy make sure and tell me that, oh, we're gonna start documenting this. So we're starting a YouTube page to put all this stuff up, and we're putting all our IG live stuff on that YouTube page. And it's gonna be like Cabra Ranch, same like everything else. People can go check it out. So let's start taking some questions. You guys can roll in your questions now.
I did glimpse a question earlier about silage.
Oh yeah, we do
You know,
silage. We do
yeah.
silage too. We got a few bags waiting there.
You do silage too, Ray, right?
Oh yeah, we do silage because we have to
Good.
be prepared for, like last couple of days we had to use some silage because animals didn't go out and it raining so hard. We don't want to go out there and cut grass. So yeah, we just open a couple bag of silage, add some little grass to it, and mix it up, and there you go. Goats are eating
Yeah,
quite
man.
well.
You know, I think I'm going to try the silage thing one of these days. In the
Yeah, you
beginning,
gotta try the silage, man. You have
I
to.
mean, in the beginning, I mean, the whole process seemed a little bit too complicated for me. But, I mean, after time, I've observed that you might have your pasture, right?
Yeah,
And there's no grass or very little grass. Like
yeah,
the rains come like they did the other day, and boom,
yeah.
you have grass all over the place.
And you gotta store that.
And if you don't feed it right away, or pretty soon it's going to be wasted.
Yes.
It's going to get too mature.
Get too mature and it have no use to the animal. So
That's right.
yeah, so you have
Yeah.
to, bag that up, put it in,
Yeah, man.
make silage out of it,
If you have a
because
walker or you have a tractor, you just go
yep,
through and reap everything at
yep,
the prime stage.
at the
Store
perfect
it,
time
silage,
before you
and you
lose
have a
it,
high
because you'll never
quality.
in
Yeah,
a rainy time like this, the animals will not be able to move around the pasture fast enough to get everything at the right stage. So
that's true.
you might as well reap it because it's gonna grow back in like 2 weeks anyways with the rain. You
Precisely.
know what I mean? So you're not gonna be losing out. Um, any questions, guys? Damien Crawford is on Facebook Live. He has a couple questions. Can you feed only silage? Yes, you can feed only silage because it has a lot of dry matter. It's basically, fermented grass. Just like it's a different form of grass. Well, it's grass. That's all it is. It's just in a different form, just like hay. Damien said how many segments I have in my pasture. I never count them. It's 10 pastures. And each is divided in three. And each divided in three. So 30 paddocks. 30 paddocks I have. There you go. Any other questions, folks?
But I mean, I have to add to it. If you go into silage, like anything else, you have to manage it properly. And you have to follow the instructions, because silage, if you don't do the right thing at the right time, silage can be dangerous.
Yeah, like you got to really pay attention, like all the other processes, that you don't feed animals spoiled silage. Like, it will kill your animal.
That's right.
So yeah,
You
so
have to
you
be
got to
careful of
know,
that.
but the benefits of having it versus not having it, it's like it's night and day, man. Like you cannot measure the benefits of having silage there, sitting there and ready to go at any moment. You know what I mean? Like I think, according to Khalil, he thinks I have the oldest bag of silage in the country. Because we made silage last summer and I still have 2 bags of that silage sitting there. And it's amazing. It's amazing. But one joke I got is like Khalil gave me a couple bags of cane silage that they made in St. Thomas, and I opened that thing and it almost got me drunk. That thing, when I opened it, that thing smelled like a rum bar. I was like, no, I don't know if the goat should be eating this. It was strong.
They probably love it.
Yeah, the goats loved it. I'm like, yeah, they're just drinking rum and feeling Irish, so they just keep going back. You know what I mean? Damien's asking, how do we know if it's spoiled? A lot of my bags that I open, right at the very top, where air got there, you will see mildew, like a little mildew. So every bag we open, we always take off the first 3 inches and just toss it. Because unless you
Exactly.
have a mechanical system that's going to suck all the air out, by the time you tie that up, some air get in there. And it usually concentrate at the top. So you just take that 3 inches off, throw it away, and everything else is good. And it's just practice that, you know, even people who make silage pit, they do the same. You know?
Because it's oxygen that spoils the silage.
Yeah, exactly. Once you open a bag of silage, you better use it up within 24 hours. So that's why I like the bag silage, because when I open a bag, I can use it for the day.
Yeah, you
You
can
know?
use the entire bag. You don't have to worry about
Yeah.
resealing it.
You don't have to reseal it. I just use the entire bag. And the bag is about 50, depends on how tight it's packed. It could be from 50 to 75 pounds.
Yeah, man. I love the bag idea for, you know, for small ruminants, small
Exactly.
farmers.
For
And it's
small
not that
farmers, that's what you want. You know what I mean?
you don't
It's a
want, you
small
can't
bag.
duplicate those big dairy farmers in the
No.
States that have these
The,
huge piles. Because you're
Yeah,
not
the
going to use it
huge pile or
often
the
enough.
massive tunnel, the
Yeah.
big caterpillar silage thing. Like, you can't do that, but we can have the bags. So 75-pound bag, 50-pound bag. It's ideal and easy to store because you can stack them in a room. You know, and I find that rat and them don't trouble the bags unless you get spillage or stuff and they come messing around. But if it's clean and things, they don't mess with it. They don't touch it. It's a special bag that they use. It's a thick black garbage bag, but it's thick, much thicker than a garbage bag.
Yeah, man. A regular garbage bag is going to let too much air in. It's too
Yes,
porous.
yes. Bryce wants to know, tell us how you use electric fence too. So, Bryce, I'm gonna do a YouTube segment on that next week, I think. I'm gonna do a YouTube thing on my whole setup of the mobile electric fence and the rotation of the pasture. I'm gonna do that and post it. Because I find that a lot of people don't even realize how simple it is to have the setup that I have. You know, they hear about rotational grazing and all that stuff, and they think it's this elaborate system. But it's not that elaborate. It's just discipline. That's all it takes is discipline to manage it, and don't, you know, get lazy about. Okay, we'll put them back the same place tomorrow, man. No, we're not. We're moving them. You know, because that's what makes the system works. Is the constant move. It helps the pasture. It helps the animals. Somebody was asking that they missed the part about the lines that you imported. You want to tell them again the 3 to 4 lines?
Yeah, we had Bad Boy, Full 100, X-Man, and Magnum. You know, Full 100 and Bad Boy just kind of dissipated in the
Okay.
herd.
Mm-hmm.
And X-Man is going very strong still.
Magnum.
Hanging by a thread with Magnum.
Why
Let's
you
hope we
say
get some
Magnum's hanging
sealing.
by a thread? Because I think that's the most popular line that I
Yeah,
hear about from you. Is the Magnum line. A lot of people talk about the Magnum line.
that maybe that's one of the reasons it's hanging on a thread. I sold so much of them. They're all over the place, right?
Yeah.
But right now, I have about 4 Magnum females,
Mm-hmm.
and I have a young. The dad died a couple months ago, and I have
Okay.
a Magnum buck.
Yeah.
But they're too related to me right now.
Mm.
Yeah. So I did some AI on 3 of the Magnum females. I'm sure one did not hold. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that the 2 that I see coming along are indeed pregnant. Let's see what happens.
So there's nobody in the island that has a really stable, good Magnum buck that you could utilize, whether pull semen from or whatever.
I mean, it's possible, but you know, I mean, like once an animal leaves my farm,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of people, a lot of other farmers, they don't raise the animals in the kind of disciplined, professional way that I raise the animals. All right, so sometimes I hesitate to get animals from people who might not have the animals in the kind of structure
Yeah.
where I can be sure this is a purebred, this is a magnum. You understand what I'm saying?
Got it. Got it. Got it.
I prefer to use semen or import live animals where I can see the paperwork on the animals, where I can be relatively sure this is an animal that's coming from this line related to such and such. Like the animal that was posted on the livestock forum a couple of days ago, that nice looking buck, that Dr.
Yeah,
Young,
yeah, that's a
you know,
Dr. Young they're working on, yeah.
yeah, man. When I see nice looking buck, I see the pedigree, I can identify so many animals out of that pedigree already. I mean, there's a bingo buck in there that my number one buck is out of that line.
Okay.
Crossed with X-Man. X-Man and the bingo combination. And at least I'm aware of the genetic composition of that buck.
Yes.
You understand what I say?
Yeah, so that leads us to what do we have in Jamaica right now when it comes to these quote unquote full blood and purebred animals? What is your take?
I don't know. I mean, to be honest, for somebody that takes like breeding seriously, you want to make sure the animal is purebred. But for the average farmer, right?
Yes.
It's not so critical, to be honest. For the average farmer, it's not
so critical
that the animal is really a purebred or 100% purebred. You just want to know, you can look at the animal and judge the animal, and to make sure the animal has qualities that you want to impart on your herd.
Yes.
You know, the animal is fast growing enough, then judge the progeny that comes from that animal. It's not critical for the average farmer.
Especially like a meat goat operation.
Yes, specifically, I'm talking about a meat goat operation or a farmer that's mixing, that has crossbred animals all over the place.
Okay.
But if you're a purebred breeder that you want to dedicate yourself to a particular line that like what I have done, I mean, you might want a little bit more surety, so to speak.
Okay. Okay, you're straight up Denby, man. How many trophies you won at Denby?
I've not been to Denby in quite a number of years. Probably, no, it's been 2020. Probably like 10 years since I've been to Denby.
Yeah.
You know?
How many trophies you got? I can't read it.
I gave them all back. They don't even let you keep the Denby trophy. Ask Mackie. They give you for a year. You have to give it back.
Oh, that's why Mackie went and bought his own.
I think they probably put your name on it. I don't know if anything has changed.
No, Mackie told me that he went and bought his own and brought them from the UK and bring them down and give it to them and tell them that they need to have proper trophies for people.
Yes, and let them keep it.
Yeah. Well, I know I won't be going to Denby anytime at all. I'm not into the show business.
Yes.
So any other questions, folks? It looks like that's it.
All right. It's been good talking to you,
Somebody have a question to ask. If you ever done a cross between a Nubian and your Boar, or Alpine and Nubian with your Boar lines, if you did any cross?
In the beginning, when I just started out, when I used to have Nubians in the beginning. In the beginning, when I just started, I had Boars, Nubians, and I never had a purebred Alpine. I probably had some females with Alpine blood in them. So we used to cross them, and you get nice, fast-growing animals when you cross Nubian with Boar.
Yeah.
But a lot of that, a lot of that is hybrid vigor. So sometimes you don't duplicate it so much.
I find that it's inconsistent.
It's inconsistent.
But I think for people that are doing like what we do, focusing on meat and eventually milk, it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? As long as I'm getting decent growth rate and the meat to bone ratio is better than the locals, then I'm good, because I'm fine as long as I can meet my target when it comes to market weight or age, a certain age, certain weight at a certain age. Once I'm getting that, then I'm okay.
In a perfect situation, if I was say, setting up a huge meat operation, in a perfect situation, I would love either some purebred Boar females. I mean, right now that would be impractical because it's so expensive.
Yeah.
Right, or some highly graded Boar females, right?
Yeah.
Then I would use a purebred Nubian. Put that on the herd, and I would slaughter all the offspring. I would never. So you would get that hybrid vigor. You would get the good modern ability from the Boar, because the Boar is very good when it comes to modern.
Yeah.
They're taking care of the kids, good other attachment, etc. Points that the Nubian is not so great in. The Nubians generally, they don't have such good others, although I've seen some Nubian with nice attached others. And in my
I
experience,
thought Nubians had good udders because of their milk production. Well, not in Jamaica, but yeah.
Yeah. When I say good udders, I mean the nipples are small.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The udders attached up. So when the kids are born, they can come out and just look up and it's right there.
Yes.
You don't want the nipples being like 2 inches from the ground. The kid is up under the belly searching all night. Next thing come out, the kid dead the next morning. Right?
Yeah.
When I say good udders, that's what I mean.
Okay.
So that's in a perfect world. That's what I would do. Purebred Boars are highly graded Boar females.
Yeah.
And a purebred Nubian as the sire.
As the sire, yeah.
Yes, and that's how I would produce my meat animals.
Well, I'm gonna try that my next breeding and see the results. Because you may be onto something. Did you try it and see a specific result? Why you think it would work?
Well, I've bred the Nubian and the Boar before, and I've seen that super growth rate that you get from mixing two purebred animals or two almost purebred animals. I've seen it.
Yes.
But the challenge in that situation would be getting the highly graded Boar females. Like right now, Boar goats are so expensive. There's no possibility of getting purebred females to use as meat producing goats. They're just too expensive, right? And then you would have a challenge getting a large herd of highly graded Boar females. But later on the line, as these goats become more popular, you probably would be able to put it together. Or eventually take the time and breed them yourself.
Yeah, we're gonna start butchering full-blood boars. hey, dude, I turned a purebred Nubian in burger meat, and people were like, "Are you crazy?" I'm like, "Yeah, he wasn't working for me. He worked better on the plate." I just couldn't give it to somebody else, knowing he had that many faults as a purebred animal. But so we cooked him, and it was delicious. We were like, that money was well spent. It was great meat.
How old was he at the time?
He was a year and a half.
Okay.
Yeah. But he had a saddleback, knock knees, and he wasn't turning out to what we thought he would be. So
right. I didn't remember I just spoke earlier, in a perfect system you want to slaughter them at 10 months old or so.
Oh for us, when we're for other use, like animals don't pass 8 months that we don't butcher them. So we're gonna try to stretch it to 10 months and see. But we definitely, anything that we're gonna eat is definitely under, usually we get to 8 months, because 8 months is when it hits like the 80 pounds or whatever for us.
Yeah, man.
Like more than
so much eat in terms of what we were speaking of earlier, of each farm having an individual brand.
Yes.
Right? You want to have that cutoff time. So when you sell
you
when
definitely,
you're selling meat to the customer, they have that consistent texture,
consistent
that
texture.
consistent taste.
Yeah.
You know, if they cook the meat and it's ready in 30 minutes, the next batch they buy, it's ready in 30 minutes. I mean, well, 50 minutes or hour, whatever. It's ready at that time, just the same. Just
I
like
know,
when you go
it's
in the supermarket and
amazing.
buy a best
It's
stretch.
amazing the difference when you cook goat meat at the right age. Like it doesn't take all day to cook. It just tastes amazing. Except when you buy these meats at the butcher shop or whatever, you have to cook it all day, and then
Pressure cooker and all of that.
yeah, and it tastes like leather, like chew it for days. Yeah, I'm like, you know, but people like them goat smell like old ram goat, but I guess 10 months is a good time that they start peeing up themselves and stuff.
Yeah, man, exactly.
Well, Mr. Archer, thank you very much, sir.
It's been my pleasure, Ray.
Yeah, and you're welcome back anytime to if you have another issue you want to address and talk to people about. This is the welcome is here. You can come anytime. Open invitation.
All
You
right.
know what I mean? You can come and talk to the people because what we're about is sharing information. We're not holding anything to ourselves.
Yeah, man, I appreciate what you're doing.
Yeah, we're letting people know firsthand how to get it done, where they can find the information, and we're willing to help. Because to be honest, it was challenging for me to get information from experienced farmers when I was starting. Like, I mean, I don't know what the fear was or the trust factor, but for me, it's like certain things is just let's share it because the more successful people are in my sector, the more focus and my sector will get and the government and powers that be will start, kick down some door and cut some red tape for it. So thank you, sir.
All
I
right.
appreciate it. And for all the folks that are still here, thank you guys for participating. Thank you very much for being here. And you can go check out the YouTube page. I'm posting all these lives from the beginning. I'm posting them on YouTube. And then we're going to start doing the kidding season that we have coming. And I'm doing my pasture rotation system. I'm doing the full videos on them and post them. So I'm going to start exposing everything we do here and document it so people can go back to it and say, oh, this is how this was done. This is the success they had, or this is the failures they had. So everybody can see it.
That's right.
All right. And so subscribe to the page, Cabra Ranch on YouTube, and we'll just keep putting information out there. Like it, share it, all of that good stuff. All right. Thank you, sir. And we'll talk soon. All right.
You're welcome. Take
Yeah,
care.
thank you.